Before she was a ghost in the digital machine, a headline about a fake death that fooled the world. Before she was the subject of a bitter 5-year custody war that played out in whispers and cryptic social media posts. Before all of that, she was the spectacle. In early 2018, the internet coughed up its most baffling creation, a 9-year-old girl who declared herself the youngest flexer of the century.
Bitch, I just got a Lambo. I'm the youngest flexer of the century, and I'm only 9 years old. What are y'all doing with your lives? Y'all only hating on me because y'all broke and jealous.
This was Lil Tay, a tiny girl with a ridiculously foul mouth and stacks of $100 bills who would stand in front of luxury cars she couldn't drive and inside mansions she didn't own, screaming at all of us for being broke-ass haters. The videos were formulaic, but impossible to ignore, bragging that her toilet cost more than your rent, flexing a designer closet, all delivered with an aggression that was just jarring coming from a child. But the curtain was pulled back pretty quickly, revealing the whole thing was a carefully constructed family business. The props for this fantasy life were allegedly sourced from her mother, Angela Tian's job as a Vancouver real estate agent. That flashy red Mercedes? It reportedly belonged to her mom's boss. Those sprawling mansions? They were just unsold properties her mother was supposed to be showing, all allegedly used without permission to build the Lil Tay mythos. This wasn't just fun and games. It had immediate, real-world consequences. When her boss found out, Angela Tian was fired, a clear sign of just how high stakes this operation was from the start. This wasn't just about showing off. It was a calculated campaign to conquer clout culture. She did collabs with controversial figures like Jake Paul and got into manufactured beefs with people like Danielle Bregoli to generate drama and millions of views. The whole family then packed up and moved from Vancouver to LA, signaling that this wasn't a hobby. It was a professional brand they intended to monetize. It was, from the beginning, a family production company in miniature, her brother Jason providing the strategy and her mother Angela providing the stage. The public's view of Lil Tay, which started as a mix of morbid curiosity and amusement, took a sharp turn in May 2018. The whole thing shifted from a bizarre internet meme to a serious conversation about child welfare, and it all happened because of one piece of leaked footage that completely shattered the illusion that she was in control. The video showed what many people already suspected. Her older brother, Jason Tian, who was 16 at the time, was coaching her from off-camera, feeding her the profane, braggadocious lines that defined her entire character. You could hear him correcting her delivery, telling her to be more aggressive. Suddenly, the strings on the puppet became visible to everyone. Sources close to the family started describing Jason as domineering and harsh, with one person claiming they saw him yell at his sister for a bad take, screaming, "You're no good, it's no good," until she was in tears. This one video reframed everything. Jason wasn't just a supportive sibling, he was the reported mastermind. According to reports, he had spent years studying famous YouTubers trying to get famous himself, and after failing, he seemed to be using his 9-year-old sister as his vehicle to viral stardom. He allegedly had sole access to her Instagram account and was the architect of every move, reportedly even pushing her to use racial slurs just to stir up more controversy. As the public backlash grew, the family went into damage control. They put Lil Tay on Good Morning America where, right on cue, the 9-year-old insisted, "No one's forcing me to do this," and that she was happy. But after seeing the coaching video, it just looked like another scripted performance. The criticism was intense. Snoop Dogg publicly commented that she needed to be in school learning how to be a little girl. More importantly, tech writers and child welfare advocates started pointing out that this whole situation exposed a massive loophole in the law. Old rules like the Coogan Act were designed to protect child actors in Hollywood, but they were useless in the new, unregulated world of social media influencing. The Lil Tay saga became the poster child for this unregulated Wild West, showing everyone how easy it was to exploit a child for fame and money right out in the open. Then, in June 2018, right at the absolute peak of her viral fame, she just vanished. It wasn't a slow fade-out, it was a complete digital erasure. All the content from her Instagram and YouTube was scrubbed clean, leaving behind empty profiles and millions of followers wondering what the hell just happened. This sudden silence was the first sign of a massive off-screen battle that was just getting started. A bitter, years-long custody war between her parents. The person who pulled the plug was her father, Christopher Hope, a lawyer from Vancouver. Citing major concerns for her welfare, he went to court in Canada to get full custody and, more importantly, full control over her career. His legal case pointed to two main things: her insane truancy, alleging she'd missed over 70 days of school after moving to LA, and the deeply inappropriate nature of her online persona. And he won, at least at first. In 2018, he got a court order that forced Tay to return to his custody custody in Vancouver and, this is the key part, required her to stop creating all social media content. That court order is the legal reason she was silenced for 5 years. This is where the story splits into two completely opposite realities, two competing narratives that would define the next half-decade. In Christopher Hope's version, he was the responsible parent stepping in to rescue his child from a train wreck. He said his goal was to get her a real education and guide her toward a more legitimate career, not just flexing on the internet. But from the side of her mother, Angela, and brother Jason, Hope was an abusive absentee father who suddenly appeared out of nowhere once his daughter started looking like a potential paycheck. They painted his legal battle not as a rescue mission, but as a hostile takeover designed to seize control of her career and her money for himself. Ultimately, this custody battle was never just about a child's welfare. It was basically corporate warfare over control of a very valuable, if controversial, brand. While Hope claimed he wanted to protect her, reports from 2018 showed that his plans also included trademarking the Lil Tay name and setting up a trust for her earnings, which sounds a lot like he wanted to manage her career, just in a more traditional way. On the other side, when her mother eventually won, her law firm's public statement framed it as a victory that enabled her daughter to advance her career. The legal system was just the battleground. After years of fighting behind the scenes, the final decision was a decisive win for her mom. A judge in British Columbia granted Angela Tien sole decision-making authority over Tay's life and career, and then ordered Christopher Hope to pay a staggering $275,000 in retroactive child support going all the way back to 2014, plus ongoing monthly payments. So, for 5 years, Lil Tay the creator was gone. But Lil Tay the internet mystery was very much alive. She became a kind of digital ghost, where her captive social media accounts, the only link to her public self, would sporadically twitch back to life with alarming messages. The narrative war between her parents was now being fought publicly using her own Instagram profile as the weapon. This happened twice in a big way. The first time was in October 2018, not long after her father got custody, when posts suddenly appeared making serious allegations of abuse against him. This was just a preview for 2021, when a whole series of posts, reportedly orchestrated by her brother Jason, dropped, accusing Christopher Hope of both physical and mental abuse. The story these posts told was very specific. Hope didn't want to save his daughter. He had maliciously used the court system to drag her back to Canada with the sole intent of stealing her money. In 2021, they took this narrative a step further and tried to monetize it. A GoFundMe was launched, allegedly by Jason, asking the public for donations to cover Tay's legal fees to help save her from her supposedly abusive father. But the story about who was even making these posts kept changing, which just added to the confusion. Back in 2018, her mom, Angela Tien, had publicly claimed the abuse posts were from a hacking event and even showed off what she claimed was a police report to prove it. This was met with a lot of skepticism, and many people assumed it was Jason all along. That suspicion was basically confirmed in 2021, when Tay's former manager, Harry Song, went public and straight up accused Jason of using his sister's account to engage in defamation and libel against their dad. With no real information, this 5-year period was defined by an information vacuum filled with endless online speculation. Internet sleuths on Reddit and other forums endlessly debated her whereabouts, her safety, and whether any of these wild claims were true. The whole thing was fueled by a cryptic 2-word message that appeared in her YouTube bio: "Help me." That phrase became a rallying cry for fans who believed she was in genuine danger. During this long hiatus, the person Tay Tien was effectively erased and replaced by the ghost of Lil Tay. Her social media account became a puppet, manipulated by the warring sides of her family to keep the conflict in the public eye, frame Christopher Hope as the villain, and build a powerful narrative of victimhood that would be absolutely essential for the comeback they were clearly planning all along. And that comeback plan kicked off with one of the most bizarre and calculated media stunts in recent memory. On August 9th, 2023, a ghost emerged from the digital graveyard. A formal, unsigned statement appeared on her dormant Instagram, announcing the sudden and tragic passing of our beloved Claire and her brother Jason. The media went into an absolute frenzy.
Somebody who was widely reported yesterday was dead. We're talking a 14-year-old.
With global news outlets running headlines that the 14-year-old viral star was dead, all citing that single social media post as official family confirmation. For 24 hours, the world mourned, but then the official story started to fray. Journalists doing basic fact-checking found that police in Vancouver and LA had 0 reports of her death and weren't investigating anything. Things got even stranger when her father, Christopher Hope, was contacted and flat out refused to confirm whether his daughter was alive. Her former manager gave a cryptic cryptic statement urging cautious consideration. These non-denials were crucial. They kept the mystery alive and the story trending. Just as suddenly as it began, the story collapsed. The death announcement was deleted and the truth arrived, fittingly, via TMZ. Tay and her brother were alive and safe. In a statement, Tay claimed her account was compromised by a third party and made a critical point that reframed the entire narrative. My legal name is Tay Tien, not Claire Hope. The entire 24-hour cycle was a masterclass in media manipulation, and it turned out to be just the first step in a meticulously orchestrated relaunch. A month later, she dropped a new music video, Sucker for Green, a deliberate throwback to her 2018 flexing persona, signaling to her audience that the character they remembered was back. The final phase of the comeback was the narrative. Shortly after the video, Tay hosted a long Instagram Live where she unleashed a torrent of detailed and severe allegations of physical, mental, and financial abuse against her father. She explicitly accused him of orchestrating the death hoax itself as part of some crypto coin scheme. The timing of all this was no coincidence. Her public reckoning was perfectly synchronized with a press release from her mother's law firm, which publicly announced their massive legal victory in the custody case, confirming the court had granted her mother sole decision-making power and ordered her father to pay that huge sum in back child support. The legal win gave her story an official, court-sanctioned stamp of approval. It was a brilliant, multi-pronged strategy. The hoax created global name recognition. The legal victory created a sympathetic narrative. The music video re-established the brand. And the Instagram Live provided a dark, detailed backstory while discrediting her father. It all culminated in a single, triumphant declaration that summed up the entire campaign. I am free now. Her return was just the beginning of a new chapter that followed a tragically familiar pattern, leveraging personal crisis, whether real or exaggerated, for promotion. In September 2024, posts blew up on her social media claiming she was in the ICU in critical condition with a life-threatening heart tumor and had undergone open heart surgery. The announcement generated a massive wave of concern and media attention. And then, just like the death hoax, it was immediately followed by a product launch, a new single titled Growing Up. This cycle of drama for promotion was leading to what many saw as the inevitable main event, her 18th birthday. For weeks, she and her followers engaged in a public countdown.
So it's my 18th birthday on July 29th, and every male has been counting down to it.
Building anticipation for July 29th, 2025. We found out why just minutes after the clock struck midnight. At 12:01 a.m., she launched an OnlyFans account. The marketing was explicit, with her bio reportedly using phrases like freshly 18 and please don't tell my mom, while she told her followers in a video that her motivation was simple. She was broke as S-Uris. True to form, the launch was immediately followed by an unbelievable flex. She posted a screenshot of her alleged earnings, claiming to have made over $1 million in the first 3 hours on the platform. Whether the numbers were real or not, it served its purpose, generating another firestorm of headlines. But the reaction this time was overwhelmingly negative. The move was widely condemned as the tragic, predictable endpoint of a lifetime of exploitation. Social media lit up with disgust and sadness, with conversations about grooming, the ethics of the subscribers who were clearly waiting for this moment, and the collective failure of everyone to protect her. Her response wasn't remorse, it was defiance. She doubled down on that abrasive 2018 persona, claiming her family had disowned and kicked her out for the decision, while launching into tirades against her critics, calling women who work 9-to-5 jobs a bunch of failures. You can't see this as some isolated choice. It's the logical, if deeply grim, conclusion to a life lived as a public performance. She was commodified for clicks as a child, and now she's applying that exact same lesson in the adult entertainment world. The story of being broke and disowned just serves to frame it all as an act of rebellion, the ultimate flex of turning her own controversial coming of age into a multi-million-dollar spectacle. We're left to see this as a cautionary tale, a tragedy of a childhood lost to the internet. But what if we've been asking the wrong questions? What if the search for a single victim or villain was always a distraction? Consider the most twisted possibility. The 5-year family war was never real. It was a performance, the greatest and most patient piece of content they ever produced. The domineering brother, The abusive father, the rescuing mother. Were they family members at war, or just actors playing their parts in a long-form drama? A perfectly scripted tragedy designed to keep a brand simmering, building the ultimate victim narrative for a multi-million-dollar launch the moment she turned 18. Forget the cars, the cash, or the OnlyFans debut. The ultimate flex was the con itself. The biggest hoax wasn't faking a death for 24 hours. It was faking a family war for 5 years. We thought we were watching a tragedy unfold. We were actually watching their masterpiece.